Yo, welcome everyone. Damn, that opening always gets me hyped. Got a little bit of an interesting show today. As you can see, we've got a little bit of a different head at the top left there. It's our FaZe showcase. I'll let people trickle in a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of intro updates and all that. But I'm extremely excited about this today because we've been wanting to do this for a very, very long time. Honestly, I think it's been needed. We've been very busy as a company over the last 3 or so years. So yeah, this is honestly really, really, really exciting. We finally found a groove, I feel like, and I think the rest of the team would agree. Obviously Breakpoint's coming up next week. Obviously we want to get some clippable content to share with you guys. And I hope everyone's having a good trip, traveling well. I think a lot of people are in Dubai at the moment. Pre-Breakpoint vibes. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be there, which is a little bit bleak. But some of the team, the FaZe team, will be there. Devour, Jeff, Chris, Mango's already there, our Aero intern. So if you see him, go say hi. Yeah. So essentially, I'll get things rolling here. A year in review, 2025 for FaZe Labs. It's been a massive year for us as a company. We've grown exponentially. I think this was kind of really the year that brought everything together for us. A lot of lessons learned over the last couple of years, and kind of culminated in what FaZe is today and our core product or companies that fall under the FaZe Labs umbrella. As you can see there, we've got Netrunner, Aero, and Sentinel. So I'm going to be starting off with Netrunner, going through a little bit of that. Then we'll be going over to Aero, Sentinel, and Netrunner, and I'm going to have Brandon, my co-founder and our illustrious CEO, join me to go a little bit over Aero and Sentinel, and we'll have Jeff, our Chief Product Officer, who has been an absolute machine on Netrunner with the devs, and he'll be going over a little bit of Netrunner updates and giving a little bit of a preview as well. Not really preview, but show you guys the app. It's live, by the way. You can actually go there and sign up if you want and use Netrunner. We've got our one soul opening plan that's still live, so we'll get into all of that. But essentially, who am I? So I'm Seb. I'm sure you guys know me. I'm one of the co-founders and CMO of FaZe Labs. And I'm super excited to be here with you guys today and talk a little bit about the company. So again, overview. FaZe overview. We're going to do a phase overview. We're going to be doing an Aero overview, a Sentinel overview, Netrunner overview. And then we're going to be going a little bit into what's next, right? Like what's coming in 2026 and where do we see ourselves in a year from now. So just some little, FaZe Labs updates, the foundation of everything that we do. So we had our Sentinel and Netrunner launches. I didn't add Aero here because Aero pool, our ecosystem stake pool, launched last year. So these were two massive launches this year. Big go-to-market campaigns for both and for Aero as well. We had huge growth across our team in design, social, engineering, ops, product. Just really, really an amazing group of individuals that have all come together to make this vision, come to life. Almost too many to give shout outs to, but you'll see on the next slide, I have a nice little bit of a, image of all the team members. We also updated, right? The logo is still the same. It got a little bit thicker. If you were around in 2021, or 2022 when we started, you would have remembered the same logo. It is a little bit thinner. Maybe even remember the slash campaign. I don't know if you remember the slash campaign, then you're a real OG, where everyone had like slashes on their PFPs, like from the FaZe logo. There's that kind of line that goes through. We actually built a website called Get Rugged, I think it was. I can say you can't see it, but I can see Devour in the backstage was he smiling here, and that was awesome. That was honestly such a cool campaign. People could sign put their wallets into the site, and then they would get a PFP generated with the slash on it. And then we did this free passport airdrop or whatever as a fun way to reward those users. So anyway, not to digress. But you can see, obviously, we got a little bit of color changes on the logo there, just to kind of help illustrate the different products that we have. Then, two really exciting things I want to go over is Mondano Labs acquiring Lilypad. So I'll quickly bring up Lilypad here. Lilypad was something that we built that was kind of like a lead on from the initial dream of what FaZe was, which was to create FaZe Protocol, which was the initial product, which was a way to prevent rugs, right? Because the whole team comes from basically derugged projects, or worked in blockchain investigation kind of thing. So we've all kind of come from a similar background, right? Trying to protect and empower whatever, protect users in the ecosystem. And essentially, what Lilypad did was it simplified this FaZe Protocol idea. FaZe Protocol was project mints. Their funds get locked into different phases. And then on completion of those phases, right? Like, hey, we built our site, we did staking, we did this, whatever. Then the community could veto vote whether or not they've done the work after they've submitted it. And then they would get their next phase of funding. We only had 2 projects use it. It seems that, it turned out that most projects could just mint out. So why would they want to lock their funds away? So, that didn't work out too well, but still, Lilypad is kind of like that evolution of that product, which is just using LSTs. And I think I'll also add is that with FaZe Protocol, you could, if the project did a rug, you could actually burn your NFTs and get a portion of the treasury back. So essentially, Lilypad was like an improvement on this, right? You mint an NFT with a LST, Sol, whatever. Let's say it's 2 Sol. I'll use the example of Pathfinders. They were the first project to use Lilypad. If you wanted to get that Sol back, or you weren't happy with the direction of the project or whatever, you could just go burn that NFT and receive your initial mint price back. So you never lose your initial, which I think is fantastic, which is super cool. Then the project would also earn off of the LST APY, or the revenue from the LST. So 100% LST commission. You never lose your Sol. The project gets the yield. You can dip out whenever you want. The floor can only go up, or if it goes down, you could just arbit, which is what people did do a little bit with some of the Pathfinders NFTs, but they did an amazing job. Shout out to Pathfinders. They're also, a big part of a big reason as to why Lilypad even exists. It was kind of like in collaboration with them. And yeah, this obviously worked really well. If you go look at their floor price, it's very stable. But anyway, so that was obviously really exciting for us. Nice to see that product get a new home. Then also, Radiance acquired Align. So if you don't know what Align is, and I'll get that up as well quickly. But essentially, Align is a DAO tool. All right, let me get the screen share up over here, just so you guys can have a little bit more context. Where is this? There it is. I'll just use Bonk as an example because they were like one of our biggest users. But essentially, what you could do on Align is users could come in, they could create an account. Let's say you're a Bonk holder. It would pick up that you have the required amount of Bonk in your wallet. So let's say it's 10 million Bonk or a million Bonk. Then you would then be able to vote and participate in that organization, right? The same goes for NFTs, whatever it may be. You could create proposals, and then you see we have this kind of like fun voting system here, just kind of looking at Reddit style kind of voting. And then your vote would equate the amount of tokens that you have. And yeah, this was actually pretty successful. And this was also kind of like birthed from that initial idea of Phase Protocol, which was to protect users and funds as well. So a big problem that arose in those early days was like a lot of projects were kind of farming the royalties. Therefore, this was a solution for those royalties to go into this DAO wallet, and then the community could then use it. And it evolved. This was version 2 of the platform. And in version 2, this Align, really, really cool, but you can actually run hackathons, which have been done, right? We ran the first hackathon, Bonkathon, as Phase Labs and Radiance, which was hugely successful, $350,000 in prizes. There were like 16 judges. It was crazy. A really, really, really cool event. And just a really incredible use case for this platform. You know, from the entire process, right, is available in here, from voting to submitting, and all of that. The judges also vote on the app. It was really, really cool. Then more recently, after the acquisition by Radiance, they did the Solana Mobile Hackathon. So really, really cool to see products of ours that we really put a lot of love and passion into. You know, find new homes. You know, not just go to waste, right? And I think it kind of gives an idea, right, of us as a company and the type of things that we've done, right? We've kind of done a large amount of things. I'm not going to go into everything because there's a lot of products that we've built that didn't all work out, but, you know, that's all part of the journey. Then we launched Phase Live, this obviously being a result of that. More recently, which has been awesome. Shout out to my co-host, Chris and Gotto. Just really has been a lot of fun. We've had Hilo on. That was a great show. If you want to find some alpha, go listen to that. Plish gives a bit of alpha on season 1 of Hilo and how important crowns are going to be. So go check that out. We also had Double Zero on, which was great. Austin and Eden, which was awesome. Then we also had Unruggable, and we honestly are booked out like the whole of January the first month of next year, January, we fully booked out, and we're getting more and more guests on. So really, really excited to see this grow. So also, I have to give a massive shout out to the entire Phase Labs team. It's a lot of people, actually. I don't think people realize how many how many people are actually on the Phase Labs team. There's like 18, 19 people. So just a shout out to everyone here, from the developers to the designers, to the marketing team. Shout out my marketing team. You guys are absolute legends. Just to everyone, really. Like, I can't speak highly enough of these people. Really just feel lucky to work among such, you know, talent. And we've just really evolved and become a cohesive unit over the years. So yeah, shout out to the entire Phase Labs team. Without you, we wouldn't be here, and Phase would not be what it is. So thank you. All right, so we're going to be going on to our first business, which is Aero. Unfortunately, Gabriel, our head of staking, is not able to join us today. Shout out Gabriel. He's the guy who makes everything tick in the background for Aero. He's the man behind the delegation. But not even second best, but Devour is going to be joining. He too is also a puppet master of Aero, and one of my very good friends. He is one of my co-founders and our illustrious CEO. And yeah, let me get him up here quickly. All right, Brandon, welcome, broski.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Let me see if I can get this view up here. Nice. Where's the nice version? Anyway, there he is, guys. This is Devour, or Brandon. Stoked to have you on, brother. very, very excited to actually talk about the show and just kind of get a little bit more in depth, into Aero and what we've done with it. So let's get it started, right? So 1 million plus SOL staked, insane. We're delegating to over 180 plus validators. It's like 25% of the network at current validator count, which is insane. We launched a new website this year that includes the Aero calculator. We can have a look at that a little bit later. And we also supported a lot of new and emerging validators. There was a fun time, early stages of Aero, us going around and just, finding all these awesome, talented teams and just guiding them through the process. So I guess where I want to start, right, is, so we kicked off this journey about a year and a half ago. So looking back, how has your experience been? How's the experience been for you personally? And what moments stand out to you? What are some of the biggest highlights?
Yeah, I think Aero has been a sorry, getting over a little bit of sickness here. I think Aero has been a really fun passion project of ours, and I can say mine as well personally, because it's kind of a culmination of how the entire FaZe team kind of got together. It was to do what is like morally correct. We were derugging things and trying to support the real people in the ecosystem for a very, very long time. And this is kind of like the culmination of that, right? One of the biggest milestones being we surpassed 1 million SOL. And with that 1 million SOL, we're delegating it out. And you saw the numbers, about 25% of the network. And so supporting those contributors is really big. And seeing that contributors actually account for 25% of the network, which it wasn't that way beforehand, is actually a really big turning point in the validator ecosystem as well. So I would say that it's been a lot of fun. It's been growth because it's hard to figure out who qualifies for this and who doesn't. There's been, I think probably the most challenging part is you can't accept everyone, right? I know that we delegate to a large percentage of the network, but that's because a large percentage of the validator ecosystem deserves it. But with that being said, you can't accept everyone. So there's been some hard conversations and that type of stuff, which is unfortunate, but it's part of the growth of the product, and of course, as a company, doing what we said we were going to do. And I think that is exactly what Aero's been, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been one of our most successful products to date.
Couldn't agree more, man. Yeah, it's been honestly an incredible journey. I think just when we started and how much we've learned through going through that process of just like understanding the ecosystem and really diving into all these different talented teams that are out there, and the amount of amazing teams that, just needed a little bit of not even really, a little bit of a push or a little bit of guidance to kind of get a validator set up. Shout out like the Sphere team, Solana ID, these guys, was all great to kind of give them some, input and support in the early days. And, there's just really an incredible ecosystem of validators. And I think that's why, as FaZe in general, there's a large kind of theme of us like really, pushing for, the validator ecosystem and the smaller nodes in the ecosystem, and kind of like, these other players, these grassroots players that really kind of help make the ecosystem tick. And we'll obviously dive more into that a little bit later into some of the other sections. But yeah, honestly, what an incredible journey. 1 million SOL staked. We started with 250,000, then we went to 500 and then 1 million. Yeah. Obviously, big shout out, thanks to the foundation for supporting us as well. Like, it's been amazing to work, alongside them as well, and also just see the stake pool environment grow and the support for these smaller validators grow. So I think that leads into the next question. How do you see the Solana staking ecosystem evolve from here? And where do you think Aero fits into that landscape?
Yeah, so I think that I also do want to quickly tack on to the shout out to the foundation. Shout out Ben and Tim and Dan. You guys are awesome. But the staking ecosystem, I see it evolving alongside Aero, and I think Aero is a kind of a great steward of where the staking ecosystem is heading. I think that the staking ecosystem is going to be much more powerful because I see it evolving into what I call pure alignment, where the people that are actually contributing to the network are also the ones securing it because they have what I like to call skin in the game. And so that is basically Aero's entire delegation strategy. So I feel like there's going to be a very large percentage of that continuing and probably even growing above the 25% that is at right now. I feel like that's, as I said, the purest form of alignment. And so that's where I see it heading. I see the validators that are on it, since they are also contributing to the network, also attracting a sizable amount of external stake. And I also see, of course, digital asset treasuries, all of these things also taking a large, being a large player in the staking ecosystem as well, because if you're not staking your SOL, you're doing something wrong. And so I think that with Arrow, we are able to support the pure alignment piece of where that staking ecosystem is heading.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a really, really good explanation. I agree with you entirely. Yeah, I mean, the ecosystem is evolving and we're just evolving along with it, right? And trying to stay at the forefront of, specific movements and things like that. So yeah, super, super excited. And also shout out to all the validators within the program. Thanks for everything you do for Solana, everything you provide for the network, and for just making Solana a better place. I think this leads perfectly into my last question, right? Which is, we've been putting a lot of focus into new areas. Let me quickly get him back up here. There we go.
I disappeared.
And I'm trying to get the presentation on stage, but it's not. There we go. A little bit of a StreamYard delay there. Deval, I think we lost your picture. There we go. So on that note, talking about how Arrow is evolving and how the delegation strategy has to evolve, and also just kind of how the ecosystem is changing. Do you want to give us a little bit? Yeah, woo, yay! I don't know if anyone really cares, but this is super exciting. New phase delegation strategy, right? Now that will become clear a little bit later, but what's happening with Arrow, what is being planned, and what can people look forward to, or what can you share with the audience around the new delegation strategy that's being worked on?
Yeah, so I think that with the changes to the ecosystem, the SFDP turning into more of an incubator style, I think that with changes to the entire staking ecosystem and validator economy, we have to change with it. And I think that is exactly what's going to happen in 2026. We are currently building it out. I would expect it to go live Q1 2026, not right off the bat, because that would mean we'd go live in a month. But I'd expect it very, very soon. And what this is going to be is, if you are actually contributing to the network, I would expect you to see more stake coming into your validator, which is a big win. I don't want to reveal too much more because there's a lot of really, really cool pieces at play here. But yeah, I would just expect a lot more stake coming to those that are actively contributing to the network, instead of those people that are doing the one-time contributions and kind of just doing the bare minimum. So I would be looking forward to that as a true contributor to the network.
I think it's also interesting to note that this is something that we've kind of been talking about for a while. It's evolved like quite a bit, but it's an idea that from the beginning we've kind of been talking about. So it's really cool to see this kind of start to come to fruition, and I'm really honestly excited for the people, for people in the ecosystem that are contributing and being rewarded for those contributions. So I think we just go from here right into the next one. We're going to be going over Sentinel, which is our institutional grade staking infrastructure, and Brandon is also going to be helping me in describing what we've been doing there. Some really exciting updates over the last year with Sentinel. This was a huge launch for us, right? We really took a kind of different route here. We try to tap a little bit into the institutional side of Solana. We met with the SEC to discuss responsible staking frameworks. You can see the group over there. There's Jeff, there's Gabriel, there's Devour, and there is Dan, our CFO, with his PFP on his head. And you guys went to go talk to the SEC, which was pretty incredible. So do you want to give me a little bit of a rundown of what that experience was like? We'll go through the rest of these points, but I think that's a really exciting place to start, because that was basically like the first thing that we did out of the gate. Almost was like go talk to the SEC. So if you want to give a little bit of a rundown of what that experience was like and what exactly you guys went there to talk to them about and how they felt about it.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. So we went there. We actually I reached out to the SEC to come in and talk about Solana staking. It was pretty interesting because we were surrounded. I think the day before us was Fidelity and the day after us was BlackRock. So it was interesting to be in that group of, in the same room with all of them. And so we went there and it was actually a lot of fun. It was kind of the opposite experience of what I was imagining. A lot of stuff that we said they had heard. They actually really wanted to listen to what we were saying. I know that a lot of other teams probably go in there with a team of lawyers as Seb just named out all of our names, we didn't go in with any legal counsel. Whether that's advised or not, we still did it. Went in there just to show like, hey, look, this is something we really, really care about. And this is how we feel the staking ecosystem should be moving, especially with the introduction of ETPs and ETFs. Because what we don't want is centralization of stake, right? As a network, we are more secure the more decentralized we are. And so that's just something that we had brought up to them, and it all around staking and LSTs, et cetera. So we talked about it with them in depth, and they had actually lots of really good questions, which showed that they actually really cared about getting this right and being forward thinking about it. So it was really, really cool. It was a lot of fun, and you'll probably be seeing on the timeline somewhere soon the fruition of that, because they had asked us to come back to them with something, and that something we'll be releasing here soon. So expect to see that on the timeline.
Yeah, super exciting. Little did we think, 3+ years ago, having our call starting phase, the guys that end up at the SEC. But no, I mean, that's amazing. And I think that also is just a testament to the continued involvement in support for the ecosystem in ways that benefit it and benefit everyone on it. What is it you always like to say, Devour? A rising tide lifts all boats.
That's what I like to say.
Yeah. So, very much living up to that mentality. Right, let's see if this works here and I don't get kicked out of stage. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Right. Also, another big update, SOC 2 Type 2 certification for Enterprise Trust. That was an insane couple months watching you guys have to go through that. I'm personally happy I didn't have to go through any of the SOC 2 Type 2 stuff. But I mean, what a huge achievement there. I think we were one of the first teams, staking teams, to actually have SOC 2 Type 2 certification, not Type 1, which is quite a bit of a distinction there. So yeah, maybe give me a little bit of information on how that goes, and why does that matter? Why is that so important? Why should the audience care that we have SOC 2 Type 2?
Yeah, SOC 2 is a very, how do I say it? It is a very, very enduring process. It's a lot of admin stuff, and you'll talk to him in a few minutes, but shout out Jeff for also helping with that. But also shout out Gabriel, who Seb also mentioned, who was the GOAT on this. Really, really could not have done it without those two. But SOC 2 Type 2, the differentiation between that and Type 1 is they basically check to make sure you're SOC 2 compliant at a moment in time, whereas SOC 2 Type 2 is they check and make sure you're compliant over a period of time, period being 3+ months. And so, and they can also check at any period during that. So it is more of a making sure that these processes are in place over a time span instead of just at a single moment in time. And so it is a lot longer of a process because they're not just checking at one moment in time, they're checking it over the course at like a long span of time. And so it was a lot.
Yeah, I remember seeing the chat.
It still is a lot. Like I get,
yeah,
just during a lot of it's actually admin processes, writing documents, business continuity, policies, all that stuff. And so, I would say that it was a lot, but it was also really, really helpful. I'd say it was a business maturing aspect as well. Like these are things that we already had in place, but the stuff that we just didn't really write down, right? So this is stuff that I'm really, really happy that we did, and I couldn't be more proud of the team for achieving such a feat.
No, shout out to you guys, and the word and you saying business maturing is extremely true. We'll talk a little bit more about that with Jeff later. My homeboy there, he's helped us do a lot of maturing as a business. So shout out to him. But no, it's amazing. I mean, it's just really, really cool to just see that level of like growth within just a span of a year, right? Like I feel like from last year to this year, it's just like night and day, just how the company's kind of progressed. And yes, Kimo there in the comments from JPEGs to SEC. I'd like to give a shout out to Kimo there as well. He's actually one of the original co-founders of FaZe back in the day. Him and Slorg as well, our brother and Slug. Sock as well from Raposa. They were all part of the team in the early days. So shout out to you guys. Thank you for making FaZe what it is today. Let's get this back up. All right. So some other really cool updates as well, like managing nodes for some of the biggest teams in Solana, right? We manage the nodes for Hilo, Magic Eden, Portals, and a couple others. But just what a crazy turn of events. to support teams like that and get to work with such amazing brands. Shout out to Hilo, Plesh, and the whole team. Big fans of everything that they're doing. Magic Eden, obviously, Papi Chulo, you legend. Thank you, brother. And Portals Bus, also love what you guys are doing. And then also our partnership with Upexi, showing institutional client growth, which is also awesome. So I think all across the board, Sentinel has shown pretty significant growth. It's shown that it can actually do what it set out to do, again, across the board, which is just, really good to see, and I think quite humbling in some ways, right? Like, it's like, what is that? What is that story? The little something that could, I don't know. Anyway, I feel like we were quite the underdogs for a while. So, but anything you want to add onto those notes there, Deval, about the management of nodes and then the partnership with Upexi, and maybe just like, where do you see Sentinel over the next year, right, in 2026? What do you think the big goal is for Sentinel?
Yeah, I would say that the goal there is kind of summed up with these last the last few bullet points here, right? Utilizing our SOC 2 Type 2 compliance. I think that's really big. We put a lot of effort into it for a reason, and it's to work with large institutions like Upexi and other treasuries in securing their stake. I think it's really important that when they have especially such large amounts of SOL, that they're staked in a secure place. I think that's really important. So I think that's one of the areas that we want to continue moving down. And then also, I also want to give a shout out to the teams at Hilo, Magic Eden, Portals, Somos, a bunch of other clients that we run. That was also a business maturing aspect as well, because we had to also expand our staking team. So shout out Shankus as well. He's also the GOAT.
The GOAT, dude.
The more operators we have, the less correlation risk we have when for these validators, is also a really important piece. So I think that as a whole, that's where we want to see it growing. TVL spiking in 2026. I think that we're only going to see more and more institutional players come in, buying SOL and staking it, and we want to be their go-to place to stake all that SOL. So I'm really excited for where Sentinel's headed. And there's also some teasers that I know Seb will give out about where Sentinel's headed later in the show.
Yeah, I think also another thing is that, at one point this year, Sentinel was managing up to $700 million in assets under management, which is insane. It's, crypto is weird like that, where it's like, it's just out of nowhere, a company's managing like millions of dollars. But listen, to everyone out there, it doesn't mean if you're managing millions of dollars, you're making millions of dollars. Let me just tell you that. Like, first off, that's the thing about crypto, is that it's just like, it's so inflationary. Everything you do is inflationary, but it doesn't always equate to like, oh my gosh, these guys are like, but anyway, just crazy to actually have that as a success note on Sentinel for the year. And hey, we're gonna make it to $1 billion. Let's be honest, all right? We're gonna make it to $1 billion assets under management. Let's be real here. Awesome. Well, Deval, dude, thank you so much. We're gonna be moving on to the next one. So you can, if you want to stay, you can hang out in the backstage. But I'm gonna get our homeboy up here soon, so I'm gonna introduce him. But dude, thank you so much. Big shout out, much love, brother. You are the GOAT. And let's keep crushing this year and enjoy Breakpoint, dude. I'm jealous I'm not going to be joining you guys, but I know you're going to have an absolute blast. For everyone that is going to be at Breakpoint, please find this man. Find the other one I'm about to bring up as well. Chris Mango as well, our socials interns, and go say hi, please. And take a photo with them and put it on Twitter and tag FaZe Labs, and we'll retweet it. Like, you know what? Let's just have some fun.
Take lots of photos. I think just to end it here, because I'm going to be hopping off. Oh, there goes my video. Anyways, just to end it here, I'm really excited for where FaZe is heading, and I'm taking that off.
Keep going.
I'm really excited for where FaZe is heading, and I'm appreciative of being on this show and going through a recap. It really shows how far we've grown, and I'm looking forward to doing another one next year where we grow even more. So thanks everyone. I appreciate it. Seb, thanks for having me. And I will let Jeff take it over from here, because I know that he will do a great job doing so.
Awesome. Cheers, brother. Much love. I'll chat to you later. Oh, there. What did you say at the end there?
I said, find me at Breakpoint, everyone.
There we go. Find him at Breakpoint. All right. Cheers, brother. No, also to tack on to what he said there, definitely is nice to see everything in review, right? You kind of get so lost in the details when you're just like in it every single day. Even when I was making this presentation with the help of Alex, my friend and one of our designers, it was kind of like, oh wow, like this is even enough. Does this even feel like we've done anything big? So, you know, it's always a nice feeling to kind of have everything put into perspective. But all right, so let's get back to the review here. So we're going to be looking at Netrunner. This is probably where we're going to spend most of our time, right? Netrunner has been a very, very interesting project for us. We acquired it last year from the founding team. Meet, the original founder, did join us though, and is still helping with Netrunner today. It was a very interesting kind of like acquisition. I'll dive into a little bit before I bring on Jeff, but essentially it was absorbed via Radiance, right? And Netrunner, the original project, right? They kind of were running out of money. It was that same kind of like issue early days where projects would mint their NFT, and then that would be like your subscription or token to that product or app, which, you know, then it kind of made sense in 2022, guys. This is 2022, like hugely different time. So, you know, that was kind of the normal thing back then for NFTs. There were obviously royalties. So, you know, teams could still generate, revenue through royalties and all that. Unfortunately, then we had the dark ages, the royalty dark ages that happened, right? Where royalties were just completely wiped off the face of the earth. And that kind of screwed a lot of projects, Netrunner being one of them. And essentially, the team slowly kind of ran out of money. They did set up subscriptions in 2023, and they did actually have a healthy amount, a somewhat healthy amount of revenue, but not enough to keep the product going. You know, Solana just kept on increasing in terms of like development and, you know, more programs, more token standards, you know, different client, all sorts of things. It just got a lot more complicated. And the team was struggling to keep up, right? So we came in as Radiance initially, and then it was absorbed, and then it was decided that just the technical overhead of the project would be better suited under FaZe. And that's how Netrunner came to FaZe. So anyway, there's a little bit of an interesting backstory, right? And it was kind of something, I made a video about this the other day. It was kind of something that like kind of fell into our lap, right? I'll do this for story time because I'm here. You can see my face now properly, but it was kind of interesting how this came into our possession, right? And we've really just taken it and run with it. It was an opportunity that we saw, and we were like, this is something we can really make big. I think we can really do something good here. You know, there's a great brand. The product already has users, and, you know, shout out to Meet as well, man. Like, he really did an amazing job keeping this thing going, and he's been a really good asset at FaZe, helping us with Netrunner. So yeah, fast forward almost a year now, or like about a year since we started, and Netrunner is live. But we'll get into a little bit of that now. So let me get this back up. Let me introduce Jeff. Jeff is our Chief Product Officer from FaZe. Absolute legend. This guy has come onto FaZe. He's worked and helped us really like kind of streamline things. He's worked for companies like Kraken, Magic Eden, Deloitte. Sorry, I got a bit of sneeze coming, so I'm trying to hold it back. And just honestly has become a real friend of mine over this last year. I definitely respect a lot of his knowledge, and he's helped, I think, all of us improve a lot as a team. He comes in with a little bit of that dad energy. You know, the guy's been around the block. So let me bring him up. Jeff, welcome, brother. Let me get this little two speakers on here. How are you, dude?
Dad energy, really? It's I take it humbly. I respect
as a compliment, dude. Fully as a compliment, bro.
Doing good today. Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate you.
Of course, dude. I love it that we kind of look a little bit. If you had a mustache right now,
it's the jacket.
we'd look the same, bro.
It's the jacket.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we didn't get the memo today. We both dressed very similar, but no, dude, really, really stoked to have you on and to chat about Netrunner. You've been such a pivotal part in the development of Netrunner, as well as everything else as well, Aero and Sentinel. You've really, as I've said before, helped kind of bring a little bit of organization to us as a somewhat raggedy crew, kind of just doing stuff over the last couple of years. You know, we survived off hackathons, man. So what do you expect? But anyway, let me get this back up here. And let's go into a little bit of Netrunner.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I'll give a little bit of highlights here. We raised a pre-seed round in October of last year, $450K to $7 million valuation. Super exciting for us. It's not the most money in the world, but I think we did incredibly well with it. Thank you to all of the investors, specifically Soulflare. They've been huge supporters of us since the beginning. Shout out Soulflare. Also Nom, Awesome Federa, and others. Mythics. I'll just name some. Mythics Capital, Radiance. We got Spizzy, we got Juicy, we've got Jerk. Just a bunch of amazing people that supported us, and we're really thankful for that. Some other strategic partners there as well. Soul Incinerator, massive shout out to Soul Incinerator. They've been incredibly supportive, and we are so excited for all the cool stuff that we have planned with them over the next year. Really, just shout out to Jay Nana, the whole team. They really are an incredible team, and their product is literally just like awesome, right? Who hasn't used Soul Incinerator? Some big updates this year, obviously V2 release of Netrunner, the new partnerships. I really think we're positioned to become the Solana tax tool of 2026. And we also have closed off our private beta. We are now actually public, but we just haven't made a big splash about it yet. And our private beta ended with about 130 plus active users with it. How long was that, Jeff? Like a month?
Yeah, about two months of private beta, 130 users in there. I couldn't have expected a better private beta, getting users on the platform, understanding their issues, their pain points, solving all these polished bugs, and now it's live for everybody.
I love it. Let's dive into it a little bit here. So Jeff, you've been deep in the trenches with Netrunner for over a year now. How has that journey felt, and what breakthrough moments stand out to you?
That's a good question. The dad energy is I've been building product and software for almost 15 years at this point, right? And it's been in businesses as large as 200,000 people all the way down to businesses as small as 10. And it's always exciting, right? It's always a challenge, and every single organization is a different type of challenge. And this one is no different. So getting to come in here about a year ago now and seeing the transformation that we've been able to go through, the up-leveling that we've had just internally and how we operate as a team, how we think strategically, how we plan, how we execute. And I think all of that has really started to show. So the output of that is 3 really successful go-to-markets that has changed like the trajectory of FaZe over the last 12 months. I think we have like really solid bets in 2 places. Both staking, we continue to grow that business, and then a huge bet with taxes coming up right now, right? So we've been building for a year. We had that had to make the difficult decision to start from scratch, but it's turned out to be the right move, right? We have a robust Rust backend that indexes faster than anyone in the industry. We're working on our just ability to auto label as many Solana programs as possible, which is the real pain point for tax users at the end of the day. You just want a tool that works out of the box. You don't want to spend hours and hours and hours. And, we're all on that way. All tax tools have that same core problem. The ecosystem changes, new protocols come up, existing protocols update their code. There's all these things that you need to take into account. You need to expand to different jurisdictions. Every country has different tax rules, right? Mm-hmm. So the more countries you support, the more complexity it brings into the system. And that's what we do every single day, right? So I'll take a little bit of credit, but it really comes down to the goated engineering team that we have, right? Shout out Andres, Bellissimo, Vitor, Matti. We have a new hire that just started, Luigi. Over the past year, you guys have been just excellent. So it's an honor to lead this team. It's an honor to have a shot at making a dent and taking some market share in the Solana tax market. And I think the product is ready to go. So at this point, go check it out. If you're interested, DM me on Twitter or Discord, anywhere, and let's get you in the product. We'd love to hear your feedback. Let's keep going. This is a tax dead season. So right now, without a cap, right?
It is the first time.
So here, the dad energy is, I'm a youth baseball coach, right? And for my own kids, but I spend a lot of time like spring, summer, fall, just hat all the time. But
all the time, dude.
Winter,
hat off.
Hat off. There's no baseball in the winter. So, it's half my time spent being daddy and the other half of my time, like working in emerging technologies. It's pretty cool, like juxtaposition in my daily life. So let's fucking go, guys. This is really cool. Excited to see the next couple of months of growth on Netrunner. I'll show you guys a demo like really, really soon. And, you know, we're gonna have a new website coming out before the end of the year, right into the new year.
Whoa.
Wait, what? Did I?
Jeff's
little
going on a
alpha?
thank here. No,
Little
whoa.
alpha? My
Those
bad,
things
my
are
bad,
those
my
things are gonna come, right, Jeff?
My bad.
Listen, he's speaking facts, he's speaking truth, right? Like the platform is live. You can go check it out. He's gonna do a little bit of a demo. I just have one or two other questions for you still, Jeff, before we do the demo.
Let's go.
But no, for real, dude, like really it is pretty it's a pretty enormous task that we've been dealt here, or I guess, you know, trying to take something, rebuild it, right? We couldn't use any of the old code from sorry, I'm getting distracted here. The keyboard's fucking thing. Go change my shirt to white. But essentially, like coming out of the new app, that we had to rebuild the entire Netrunner tool, right? We couldn't use anything from V1. It just wouldn't work with the current state of Solana and where it was going. So, you know, as Jeff mentioned, right, like really proficient team building this, and like Rust back end, also like built as almost an SDK to be plug and play. Just where we are now compared to where we will be in a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months is going to be insane. Like our entire focus is on Solana, right? We've been on Solana our entire careers. Like this is the place we know. We have an incredible spread across the ecosystem. We know this ecosystem better than almost anyone. You know, we know how to make a tax tool that's going to do the job for you effectively, and is going to do it for you with as little headache as possible. Solana is let's be honest, out of the 179 viewers here, how many of you are doing a significant amount of transactions on other chains? Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know. Please let me know. But if it's basically all on Solana, right? We're going to have our base plan at $189, get 100,000 transactions. Okay, I'm actually gonna hold off. I'm gonna let Jeff go into these.
Man,
this goes into the next question. So Netrunner V2 is a massive overhaul. So in your view, what do we do noticeably better than other tax tools in the market?
I think onboarding is a huge piece, right? Like cutting through the complexity, giving you the ability just to quickly get in and see where you're at, right? A lot of the times it's, 18 steps and 30 minutes until you even see your numbers. That's something we pride ourselves on, is getting the user in, not having any questions around like, what exactly am I trying to purchase? We will have a free tier soon, so you guys can go in and just try it yourselves. Don't have to take my word for it. And getting the user into a place where they can finish their taxes. Because at the end of the day, we're here to solve this problem, right? Of users need to file their taxes, they don't know how, and we cut through and did a year's worth of work to cut through that complexity and make it easy for you, right? So you have to do less. And, at our price point, you are saving more. So it's just a little
I like how you worked it in there, dude. Save more, do less. That is our tagline for Netrunner. That was very smooth. Yeah, you get 100,000 transactions on your base plan, right? Maybe that's excessive, but we like doing things excessive.
Let me talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
There's like a strategy around that, right? Like looking at my own wallet behavior and like chatting with users, and we run the data too. We see how many transactions users have. So it's like an intentional decision to give users the ability to have as many transactions as possible that's feasibly possible, because it costs money, right? It costs money to actually allow users to come in and add their wallets. It's not free. So it's a specific point, right? We're going to experiment with that. We want users to get the full picture, and then make that decision, put in the time, and then purchase to get access to the reports, right? That makes the most sense. Show users the value, and they're more likely to support you. So that's the intentional idea. Now, whether it works, whether the threshold's too high, too low, I think we tweak that. But at the end of the day, we want users to get in, we want users to see their numbers, and we want users to like eventually finish their taxes so that they can be compliant.
Yeah, Jeff's talking about the free tier here, like as in like you'd be able to see a significant amount of your transactions. If you do buy, you get 100,000 transactions. We're not going to mess with that amount. But with the free tier, we want to give you guys a full picture of what you could be paying or whatever, and you can get a real feel for the platform. But yeah, I think that also goes to show that we really are here to support the Solana user, right? Because this is where people are doing the most transactions, right? Like it's not even comparable, right, to other chains. And the way we see it, right, is yes, we're not cross-chain, but if it's cheaper to do, if your Solana taxes are the thing that's pushing the threshold of your transaction counts on these other platforms up past 10K and multiples of that, that's where you're paying a lot of money. It's because you're now paying, maybe you only have 3,000 transactions between Bitcoin, ETH, and SUI. I don't know, but you have 15,000, Solana transactions. Right now, you like paying so much more where you could have just probably paid for our app and then done your Solana and then paid a little bit for the other app, maybe even use a free tier. I don't know.
Save yourself some time, right? Because
Yeah.
Solana is a difficult blockchain to build on. So if our competitors are focusing on every other chain and we're only focusing on Solana, that's what I'm most bullish about, right? Is not where the platform's the worst that it's going to be today, but in a couple of months, we are only focusing on Solana, where everyone else is focusing on hype or focusing on these, not saying we're not going to move that in that direction in the future, but for now, in the foreseeable future, it's only Solana, which then I think gives us a leg up, right? As new programs evolve, as new protocols become hype, right? We can quickly turn those around and support taxes for you guys. So big tax dates coming up in the next 5 months. Don't fade it. Do a little bit every month, and your anxiety level is going to be lower come April for all the US people.
Well, let's get it up, Jeff. Let's start showing them what we're talking about. Let's then we can talk about it a little bit further, and then there's just one final question after we go through this. But yeah, I'm excited to get people seeing the app who maybe haven't.
All right. So I think I just shared my screen. I think you need to bring it up on stage.
So I have to remove the presentation and boom.
All right. So here we go. It's looking a little weird here. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay. So what we're seeing here is our current transactions table, right? It shows you all the key information that you need, right? Why do you use a tax tool? You need to know how much taxes you need to pay. Well, how do you calculate your taxes? You calculate it based off of a couple, 3 numbers, really. Your capital gains for the year, your net income, and your expenses, right? It's a math equation between those 3 numbers that then you either file yourself using some, Free Tax USA, shout out, or you work with an accountant, right? Like Crypto Tax Sucks or other crypto accountants. They use the reports that your tax tools generate for accuracy, right? And you save money by having these tools so that they aren't charging you hourly to go and do it themselves, right? So that's the economics of how this entire system works. Accountants will actually choose the tools that save their clients the most money because it's easiest for them to use. So if they have faith in a tool, accountants are going to use these, and they're going to have, and the clients will like inherit it right at the end of the day because it's the easiest tool to save their client money because it auto labels as much as possible. So that's what you're seeing here, right? We have, a robust way to filter this list. You can see this in a million different ways. You can show, we have something called Group by Wallet. So soon we're going to have a full chronological view, but for now you can see your transactions by wallet, which was a highly requested feature. You can change all the labels, and we have labels for everything. So when it comes to all the types of activities you're doing on chain, a high level of conviction that we have the label for you, and all the tax rules are applied automatically when you choose these things, right? So when you get into the actual list, you see all the important information. There is a lot of data being thrown at you, and that's something that we're aware of. We do want to come up with a simpler, easier, guided experience. I think that'll come next. But for now, this is everything you possibly could need. There's no extra modals. There's no extra data that's hidden somewhere. This is all you need to complete your taxes, right? And it just shows up in a list. Right? Oh, so a couple of these, we're never going to be 100%, but sometimes you're going to see some unknowns. And this happened back in July. This looks like to be the same transaction. This is a little bit of a demo. It looks like I swapped some SOL for some Drift. So I think this looks like a token swap. So I'd come here, click on the label, click token swap, and I'd recalculate. And then this will update, likely very quickly. And it's then my reconciliation progress will move up. So every single action you take, you get that little bit of feedback that's saying, hey, I'm making progress. I think that's our slogan, is taxes should feel like progress and not punishment. So that's our North Star, is to improve the UX until it really gets to that point. So once this thing finishes syncing, you would then go wallet by wallet, right? And you go to the next page. Let's see what the next page looks like. Right there, it's finished syncing. Everything's been labeled.
Sync, dude. Look at that.
Right, everything's been labeled. Token swap, Drift, calculated my capital gains here on this. Call this a disposal or a send, right? So everything's working as expected. And you just keep going down the list.
Yeah, I mean,
looking pretty good. Now, if I go back and show, here's a couple. So this one looks like I received some USDC from squads, right? This looks like a transfer, or maybe it's income, right? If I'm unsure, I could click on the view transaction button, come here and check my Sol Scan. All right, squad multi-sig. That looks like some type of income. Looks like I labeled this correctly. All right, now we get back to our taxes dashboard. So that was the transactions table. These are all the tax settings that you chose. We see a breakdown by wallet. So you can see your net gain or loss. You can see your progress across each of these. So you have a sense of where you are in your tax filing journey. And then you see the important information. How much money did I make? What type of capital gains did I have across token trades and NFTs? One of the very interesting things that we're working on now, and I'm really excited about, is perps, right? Solana perps support across Drift, Jupiter, Flash Trade, Pacifica, all the major platforms. This is a very complicated and complex thing to calculate taxes for. But the same goated engineering team I talked about before is figuring it out. So it's going to be as easy. So any perps users out there, don't worry. All you're going to have to do is put whatever wallet you were using to trade perps, and we're going to calculate your taxes for you, right? Everything's going to show up as income or expense. That's how perps tax rules work, right? It's not capital gains across all jurisdictions. So all that perps behavior, you're going to see here in Netrunner. You're not going to have to manually do your perps taxes. You're not going to have to export CSVs from these various platforms. All you got to do, add your wallet, let Netrunner take care of all your perps taxes. All right. And here's a fun note. Here's a fun note, right? And this is a little tax tip. If you make losses on your perps, because it's considered an expense, it offsets your income, right? So it kind of works in this. Income expense is like a fancy way of saying capital gains. It works the same way. So don't worry about that. If you do have losses, they do offset your gains. So you still has the same type of mechanics. But guys, come March, come April, all the top perp platforms will be available on Netrunner. So mostly super bullish about that. It's going to be the only tool that's going to be there.
We're starting with Flash Trade and Jupiter. And then we have Drift coming after that. And then,
Pacifica after that. So that's where we're at, guys, right? Once you're done with your taxes, I can sync these transactions. I'll be able to bring up my reports while that syncs again. We support 12 jurisdictions. We are adding a 13th. Nigeria will be added to this list shortly. And we are going to continue to focus on expanding jurisdictions. We're going to start with Europe, European countries using the euro first, then Latin America, and then follow back up with European countries that don't use the euro. So that'll be a slow roll over the coming months to support more jurisdictions. Excited for that. This is like fancy tax stuff. We pick the default for you. So really, you don't have to worry about it. But if you do a quick Google search or Chat GPT session, you can figure out which cost method is default for your specific jurisdiction. All right. What else? Last but not least, let's go to the report section, right? This is where the real value is. These are the 6 that we have now. We are adding US IRS tax forms, right? We do work with an accountant to verify all of our transactions so that our users have faith that the numbers are correct, but mostly so my engineering lead can sleep at night, right? So that's the main reason for hiring the accountant to verify all of our transactions across all the jurisdictions. Cool. So soon you'll start to see, if you're a US customer, you'll see the IRS forms. If you're an Australian customer, you'll see the Australian tax forms. If you're a UK customer, you'll see those, et cetera, right? So we're going to take you one further step down, your own tax filing journey. And we have aspirations to figure out ways to file those taxes with your government entities, right? So that's the overall goal, is to try and get you from not having your taxes done all the way to being done with filing your taxes within Netrunner. That's the vision.
Ooh, I wish I had an applause sound. I think there's actually a soundboard in StreamYard, but no, dude, great overview. I think some other exciting things to note as well, right, is that the app and the interface is going to keep improving and updating. We are already working on some updates as well. It's already improved a lot since we first launched. And yeah, as Jeff said, it is live. You can go get a subscription right now. It's OneSol, which is what's Sol at? $141.
It's the cheapest you're gonna find it ever.
The cheapest you're gonna get. And we've even run multiple campaigns prior. It's literally a no-brainer. the app is literally improving at a rapid rate. Like Jeff said, this is our only focus. Solana is our only focus. That is the biggest headache for majority of taxpayers in crypto if they use majority Solana, right? It's our mission to make that so easy so you can save more time, money, whatever it is, while doing less. So yeah, I know. Put that on a shirt. We have actually at Mountain Dow. There were some dope ones there. But other than that, just to kind of showcase how that change or improvements are coming, we are working on a new website there. Jeff's been got an amazing team to help us, and I don't know if I can mention what else they've done. Jeff, will we keep that under wraps? But anyway, they've worked on some really high profile projects and products. So you can expect a lot more from Netrunner in terms of just design and look and feel and everything. We're really going to smoothen things out, and I think that come April, it's just going to be a no-brainer, right? It's going to be a no-brainer. Keep your eyes peeled. We do have something coming up during Breakpoint week, and maybe a little bit after that, a little bit of a competition, a little bit of a maybe a little bit of a giveaway. At that point, it's like if you don't join up now, I don't know what to tell you.
Then you got to pay full price.
You got to pay full price. But really, absolute deal at the moment. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to jump into our Discord, right? If you go to our link tree on the Twitter, you can join the Discord. You can also DM the account, and yeah, we're happy to help, right? All right, let's see. I think that's really about it. I don't know if there's anything else super exciting that we can bring up around Netrunner. It's just that it is literally the best solution for your Solana taxes. I'm just saying. But Jeff, dude, thank you so much for being here and for chatting with me and for all the hard work that you do. Just massively appreciate it, brother.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for the time. I appreciate being here, and pull me up whenever you need.
I shall. I will. I'll hold you to that. All right. Cheers, dude.
Bye. See you later, guys.
Cool. Okay, so we're almost done here. Thanks to everyone that has stuck with us through this entire session. 209 people. That's actually pretty dope. And it's close to Breakpoint. And I know a lot of people are traveling and stuff like that. So we're just going to end off here with a little bit of the future of FaZe. Exciting. What's coming? Nothing too crazy, right? But let's just kind of go over some of these things, right? Netrunner full public release. Netrunner is released. We just got to make a big splash about it. We got some really cool stuff planned. We got some really cool content planned. We have a really, really cool go-to-market that we've already been, doing over the last few months. But, obviously things are going to start ramping up as we move into tax season. We talked about the updated Aero delegation. Keep your eyes on that, or updated FaZe delegation. Keep your eyes on that. That's going to be really, really exciting for the validators in the program and just validators in general on the network. Sentinel expansion, we're looking to go cross-chain. We're looking to do all sorts of things there and just really grow that business. This year was all about laying the foundation for all three of these companies, these brands. And then lastly, a unified FaZe identity. Now, I'm most excited about this, if I'm honest. I feel like something about FaZe that we've kind of fallen into over the years is we do a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of moving parts, right? Now, it's time to kind of bring some of those parts together and centralize some things, unify the identity a little bit. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We're looking for this to be done early 26, like Q1, January. But yeah, just something to kind of create a more cohesive brand and allow us to put more focus into specific areas. Lastly, Breakpoint. So we'll see you at Breakpoint. I won't be there, unfortunately, but Deval will be there. Jeff will be there. Gatto, our Aero and Sentinel intern, will be there. Chris, our FaZe intern, will be there. Please go say hi to them. Go chat to them if you have any questions about anything at all. But really, what an amazing moment and time for Solana. Like, just shout out to the entire network. Shout out to all the teams building on the network. Shout out to all the different clients, all the DeFi protocols, all the NFT collections, the tokens that are actually doing cool stuff. Just everyone in general, all the cool people that make Solana what it is. I hope you guys have a fantastic time at Breakpoint. Really, really just, we all deserve this win, and I think it's only going to get better. So that's it. That's the end. Thanks again, everyone, for being here with me for an hour. That was actually a lot of fun. I've been itching to do this for a long time. So yeah, appreciate you all. If If you have any questions, as always, hit us up on whatever account interests you. FaZe, Aero, Sentinel, Netrunner. Please go follow the different accounts. FaZe Labs _ Aero Pool, Sentinel Stake, Netrunner.tax or Netrunner Tax, and to keep up to date with what we're doing. But I'll see you all later. See you at the next FaZe Live. We have a really cool guest coming on. It's going to be Nicky Scans, the guy who's been developing Layer 33, which we're proud to support. We're just going to keep things rolling. Cheers, everyone. Have a great rest of your Thursday.